Hey y'all, JD Hurst here with the Bookly Blessed podcast once again. Sorry for the long break. Just been, you know, dealing with life and all those things that tend to sidetrack you or derail you. um, Doing a little bit different today. Wanted to talk about free dates. I know my books tend to have some characters in them with money. um, I went back and thought over the ones that have been published, and Covertly Me and You, they're not particularly loaded. Lee and Mac, they're not particularly loaded. They're comfortable though; they don't have to worry too much about their bills. And then go on to The Brothers I Choose and Brid and Callan. Of course, Callan is loaded, professional football player, and Brid is very, very well off. The higher ranking officers in the military, they have money, and when they don't have a family um, that has demands on that money, they're very comfortable. They're well off, and they don't have to worry about their bills either. And then you go on to For Better or For Worse, and of course, Alex is totally loaded. He's a billionaire. And then um, Dory is very poor. She's in a bad way. And then you move on to Montana Moon, and Grant has money. He's well off. I wouldn't say he's necessarily rich. I think that the days of cattle ranching, meaning that you're wealthy, um, I don't know that that's necessarily the reality today. Granted, you have to have a bit more money than the average Joe to be successful in the cattle industry, but I would say he's very comfortable. And then, of course, Penny is penniless. um, and then I'm thinking over the manuscripts that I'm working on now, and we're starting to get away from those with money. But that's why we read fiction or watch movies, right? To escape reality, to escape not having money, to escape the pressure of bills coming down on us, to just for a minute just fantasize what it would be like to not have to worry about being able to pay for our kids' braces, which I have done, and it's not fun. um, that kind of thing, just wanted to kind of turn back the clock for those times when my husband and I were financially challenged, if you want to be politically correct. um, but more realistically, we were so poor we couldn't pay attention, and we had to get creative because we have always believed that date night was very important, even when we really just couldn't afford to even go out for dinner, that kind of thing. Um, and so we did get creative. I will eventually get to one of our favorite dates of all times that we still do now that we have some breathing room in our finances, and we're a little more comfortable than we were when we first started out and we first started having kids, But I just wanted to say that just because we are a little challenged in our finances doesn't mean we can't date each other, can't date our significant other, our spouse, can't still keep things interesting and spicy. You know, we can still have fun together, even if we don't we don't have a lot of dollars to throw towards fancy dates and things like that. And I came up with a list of 10 things that we like to do together for free. And I did um, kind of split the list in half. Uh, my husband and I are both very outdoorsy people. My husband, so much so that he kind of starts to die when he has to stay inside too long. it's it's a real condition, y'all. um, so our favorite things to do for free, dates, and we do call them dates. And I think that you should too. Just because it doesn't cost you anything doesn't mean it's not a date. When you're spending quality time together, that is a date. can be romantic. And we talked about it this morning, and I asked him what his favorite was, and I should have known what it was. After 28 years, you would think I would know the answer to this right off the top of my head. But I was thinking of something else that we like to do together still after 28 years. But his first answer was, of course, fishing. And he is a fisherman deluxe. Um, and mine, to go along with that, was hunting. I love to hunt. Uh, I love to hunt in Alaska though. Not real big on the hunting down here in the lower 48, because I started hunting big game, as in moose and caribou, even some bear. Um, but I I don't want to shoot deer down here. They're too small. Sorry. uh, so we often do go fishing. He's more the fisherman, and I go fishing with him because I like to be with him, and I love to be outdoors with him. And it's free, it doesn't cost us anything because he has all the gear already, and we can dig up worms from the tree out by the pond or whatever, and we go around to all the fishing holes. If there's water, there's fish. That's my husband's philosophy. My husband can catch a fish in a mud puddle, y'all. Wherever there's water, he can catch a fish. So anyway, outdoor activities, fishing, hunting, it, chores together outside. So in Alaska, when we lived there for 13 years. Part of our chores all the time, when it wasn't winter, we were getting ready for winter. So we would go out in our side by side, which was primarily our hunting and fishing vehicle, and camping. We would load up all our camping gear and go out in the woods. It was very primitive, no facilities whatsoever, but it was fun, and but if we were just out on a Tuesday night, we were also, while we were out on the trails, we were always looking for firewood. We burned 12 cords of wood a year, a winter, to keep our house warm. That's a lot of firewood. And it seems like, oh, work is not fun or romantic. Well, when you're spending time together, it can be. And we laughed a lot when we were doing that. We had our conversations while we were looking for firewood. Um, so when you translate that down here, now that we live in Texas, that would be more along the lines of going out to feed the cattle together, or we have cleared some of our creek bed together. We have fixed fences together, which is hot and hard work down here, but it's still quality time for us because we're together, we're working out problems together, problem solving. Um, yeah, I would say when you're doing chores together as a date, uh, a little bit of the romance is lost, but it can lead to romance later on. There's always that shower after some hard work. Oh, sorry, clean Christian romance, right? um, some other things to do that we have always really enjoyed is, a picnic in the park, out in your pasture, on the boat in the lake. Uh, I have done that before, although my husband almost had a heart attack when I brought out a little small grill on his boat. He's like, "Don't get that near my motor." We didn't. We put it in the bow of the boat, so it was fine. The boat did not blow up. But it was fun. It was a fun, very romantic picnic for us, and we left the kids with grandma, so that was nice. Um, and then, a sunset or sunrise, whichever is your more favorite time of day together, walk. We do that down our country road right out here together at night, and under the guise of walking the dog before bed. But the temperatures are cooler now that it's starting to heat up again here in the south. And like last night was just a really, really sweet walk because it had cooled off from being really hot in the afternoon. And it was just, we just held hands and walked down the dirt road together. And we were just kind of talking about just every little thing or nothing at all. There was quiet moments, and it was really nice. It was really sweet, and it was romantic, and it was beautiful. I have probably taken 1,000 pictures of sunsets and sunrises around here since we've been back here for a year. And I really need to stop taking all these, sunset and sunrise pictures because it's starting to look a little the same. Although to me, to my eye, they all look different. So that kind of thing, it does not have to cost you money to romance each other. It really doesn't. Uh, you can go for a drive, which my husband was like, yeah, but that's not free because gas prices are so high. Well, that's true, but at the moment, it doesn't cost you very much to just go for a drive together. We both have really bad backs. We have a lot of chronic pain issues. And for me, when we get in our car that has the little heated seats, I can turn on that heated seat, especially when it's cooler in the cooler months, in the winter. And it's just kind of really relaxing because the seats are very comfortable. And a lot of times we'll turn on we're baseball fans, and so we'll turn on the baseball game and just kind of drive around and listen to the baseball game and enjoy each other's company. It's really sweet, and I really really enjoy that. That's one of my favorites. So, uh, go to the park or a lake at the lake or a river. Um, we had a really rough spot in our lives. We were in Georgia, and uh, we were having our financial struggles. We were even having a little bit of struggle in our marriage. I think we were just too stressed. I'm sure y'all are familiar with this, and everything was just pressing in on us from every side. And we went to a local park. We were living across the street from a lake at the time, and we went to a local park. And we sat down on the dock. We took off our shoes. It was hot. It was Georgia. And we just put our bare feet in the nice, cool water. It was around sunset, and it was kind of like we just kind of started leaning back towards each other instead of away from each other. And it was just one of the sweetest moments where, those moments where you can recognize where you're starting to come back together as a team, which is, you know, together. That's the Atlanta Braves are doing this right now. Togetherness. uh, and it just was, it was very romantic. It was beautiful. And I would recommend seeking quiet places, especially if you're having some struggles, any kind of struggles, and you're just kind of desperate to pull back together and be teammates again. And just especially in those moments, try not to talk about things that are upsetting. Just try to be. Just try to be side by side and maybe even bring up fond memories. Things that make you all both happy together, that make you smile, give you joy, and then be intentionally grateful for this moment, this beautiful moment that you have together right now. And I'm not trying to be bossy, I'm just telling you what has worked for us and what has blessed us and helped us get right. You know what I'm saying? So that's like most of the outdoor things. But again, if you're not an outdoorsy person and your significant other's not an outdoorsy person, then that's probably not going to be something that is helpful for you. But there's other free things you can do together. Um, Going back to the chores together. Now, back when we were so poor we couldn't afford to pay attention, um, we would, you know, pick up the couch and shake it to try and get those extra few coins out and look under the seat in the car. And me, I'm notorious for getting a $20 bill back then, which was a huge amount of money to me, and spending none or a tiny amount of it, and then leaving the money in the pocket of the jeans because I haven't carried a purse since I was 10 years old. So I, the money always goes in my jeans or whatever breeches I'm wearing at the time, and I forget it there. And so I would go through my pants looking for change, and we'd scrape together enough money. Like I think at the time, this is a long time ago, y'all. Okay, my children are grown. I got three grandbabies. I think it was like $2.50 an hour that we paid the neighbor girl to watch our little kids for 1 hour, and we would run to the grocery store because you got to get groceries, right? Whether you have money or not, you get groceries. And we would be gone for 1 hour, but we would go together without the children, and um, that would be our date for the week or the month, whatever it was at the time, And at first, it was like, this is sad that this is our date night. We're doing something we have to do anyways, but we were doing it together, and that was the important thing. And it was very quick. It was probably one or two times where we started going, you know what? If this is all we have, let's enjoy it. Let's have fun together. And to this day, 28 years later, and we're more comfortable now. We have no babies to send to the babysitter or bring the babysitter in for. Um, but we still enjoy going to the grocery store together, and just kind of taking our time going through the aisles. Maybe we take our time now because before we had to hurry so that we can make it back in that 1 hour. I don't know, but just that kind of thing, something you have to do anyways, do it together, make a date out of it. You know, we recently bought a trailer, a flatbed trailer for hauling our equipment and stuff around, from this couple who has a company up near us. And um, the lady was telling me how, because I said, well, we're it's date day. It was during the day, and she said, yeah, we were doing the same thing. We had to go pick up trailers anyway, so we did it together, made a date out of it. And at the same time, she's telling me this story. Her husband was telling my husband about how several years ago he got a horrific health diagnosis. He was given like 6 months to live. And so he started this company so that his wife would have a way to make a living when he was gone, which is heartbreaking, right? Well, this is years later. He's still around. God saved him, and so their date days where they're doing chores together are really significant. So that kind of thing, you have to do something anyways. If you can, let's do it together, right? And you're not really spending money that you weren't going to spend anyways. That's I think that's the point. So anyway, that's probably our number one favorite uh, date, fr- free-ish. You're spending money, but that's money you're going to spend anyways. That's the point. So moving on, I've talked a lot about that one. Um, One that we've done together is like a mini selfie photo session together. Everybody's got a smartphone nowadays with a camera. Um, we've been sitting around together and taking, turn it around, take pictures together, and we've had a lot of fun doing that. Um, watch a movie at home together. Sometimes, a lot of times, you can get them on your streaming apps for free. And then sometimes you can get one that you really want to see a new release for a minimal amount of money. Sometimes, $5 or so, and then the new releases are more expensive, like $20. But if you go out to the movies these days, you're looking at like almost $100. It seems like if you get the snacks and all that. Well, make an effort. Get the microwave popcorn out of the cabinet, pop popcorn, and and snuggle up on the couch together and have a stay-at-home date. There's that country song. We'll have a house party. I like that song. It's kind of a funky, rappy, weird song, but I like the lyrics. That's what I'm trying to say. Uh, and anymore we don't even go to the movie theater because it's massively expensive, and it's just more comfortable for us to be at home. But we are getting a little older too, so take that with a grain of salt. And then if you like to cook, cook a meal together. And then you can roll that back into the mini selfie photo or video session. My husband and I, for a little while, we were kind of cooking together, but we were filming each other cooking, and we were kind of reenacting that cooking show on TV where they compete and judging each other's meals and stuff, which was a lot of fun. We just never really published it. We probably should have, but we just never did it. We were just having fun together, and that was our stay-at-home date that only cost us the cost of the ingredients for the meal. But my husband and I both love to cook together. We love to cook. We just we don't have to be together. We love to cook, so doing it together is incredibly fun for us. Um, and then work on something together. For a while there, um, my husband was having some. Well, he's always had a lot of pain issues. He has surgeries and stuff, and so for a while there, we were doing puzzles together, and both to help him with stress. It kind of helps him de-stress, and also it was something that he could do with his hands and feel like he was in motion, but not taxing his body. That wasn't able to be taxed at the time. Uh, or a project my husband and I have done. Uh, some home improvements, some things. Sometimes it's fixing things, which uh, I wouldn't really recommend for the romance value. That's just. We've also done like trip and event planning. For our 25th wedding anniversary, we spent quite a bit of time planning our celebration. We built a playlist together, which took us, we probably did that for several weeks, and, a couple of hours here and there at a time. And then we've planned trips the same way in the past. Trips that are coming up in the future, even years in the future, because the funds just weren't there to do it at the time. That sort of thing. Uh, I would say that's pretty much the gist of our experience with free dates. If y'all know of free dates that you can do in a small town, especially we live near a small town, but we live out here in the country, and this is what we've discovered. Oh, I don't think, oh, go for a drive or a ride. Um, I was talking about the car, but you could also go for a horseback ride, a bike ride. I mentioned the side by side, which is, not a four wheeler. It has seats with seat belts. It's usually referred to as a UTV, a utility all terrain vehicle, utility terrain, or something like that. But anyway, a lot of people out in the country have those for working on the land. Well, you can just go out on a cruise on the dirt road. That's fun. We're we got to get one of those. We've had a lot of them in Alaska, but we don't have one down here yet. We're just taking our time getting our place all Hearst Haven set up down here in Northeast Texas. Um, so that's what I have on the subject of free dates, dating your significant other, your spouse of many years, when you are not loaded like the fictional characters that we like to read about or watch on TV. Because, we live in the real world, which is why we go to fiction to escape the real world. But life can also be really sweet with your person. Even when you've been together forever and you think, oh, I don't need to date that person. I would highly, highly recommend continuing to date the person that you chose to be with for the rest of your life. When we get married, that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to commit to that person for until death do us part. And I hope and pray that that's your goal when when you are married to someone or when you've been with them for a really long time and there's no thought of letting go of this person uh, for whatever reason. um, and we'll all have to ask God about this when we get to heaven. But he made us where we need to be excited to be together and feel loved. We need to feel that flush of being in love. And we can do it. We just have to make that effort to do it. And sometimes you're the one doing it. It doesn't always have to just be the guy exerting the effort towards the girl. Like for me, um, it's incredibly romantic for my husband for me to go get him and tell him, let's go fishing. I did that to him last Friday. And he looked at me like, oh man, I was getting busy doing other things, but I'm dropping all of that and we're going fishing. And he was very romanced. So it just takes effort. And you should always be the one willing to make that effort, because when you are willing, you'll find that the person you're with will eventually get there where they're willing to make the effort as well. Um, on that note, if you've never watched the movie Fireproof with Kirk Cameron, it's older, probably 15 or more years. I don't know how long ago that came out. It's a good one. Um, and I really, really recommend that one for couples. Uh, it's just a matter of making that effort. And if you need it yourself, then give it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's a choice. Romance your person, romance them, and do it in their love language, not yours. Because for me, fishing is not my first choice. I'm not the biggest fan of fishing, but I'm a big fan of my husband, and I love to see him smile. I love to see him having fun. So I'm going to take him fishing, and I will be playing games on my phone while he fishes. you know, and I'll take pictures of all the big fish that he catches. So, y'all go on out there. I hope that you will. Uh, I don't want to get into your private moments, but I hope that you will let me know if, you know, I've provided anything that you were not tracking, or if I gave you a little nudge that helped you want to make an effort. And please, please, if you have something uh, that you do with your person that is also free and fun, please let me know that I didn't already touch on this list. Because my husband and I are pretty spontaneous, and we are uh, we're willing to try new things that are, of course, legal. uh, and we just like to have fun together, and would love to see more couples out there having a good time together. Uh, of course, clean, y'all, clean. This is G-rated Christian. All right, love y'all so much. Appreciate you tuning in, and I hope that I have more episodes coming your way soon. All right, be blessed. Take care.